Hello everyone, welcome back. I said I was going to make a second video today, and I'm just going to make a quick horror related slasher video, talk about movies that I think are underrated and not quite as known as big movies, and not movies from big franchises. I kept them out on purpose, but I'm going to do 10 plus 2 honorable mentions, and of course one's going to be Chopping Mall. And yes, it's past midnight, close to 1 o'clock in the morning, and I have my Chopping Mall mug and shirt on. So I figured, what the hell, I have the shirt, I'll talk about the movie. It's not really unknown, but I figured I needed to talk about it since I'm wearing the shirt and promoting it on this video. Plus, it's one of my guilty pleasures, so we'll start with that. The DVD, Chopping Mall. Most of these here I have are DVD. I have some Blu-ray, but it's mostly DVD and laser discs. Yeah, basically, I'm not going to give away the movie, but these people are partying in a mall after hours, and the security guards are robots, and lightning strikes the tower and turns them evil, basically. But yeah, this movie was shot in the Sherman Oaks Galleria, the famous Terminator 2 scene, the Fast Times, Commando, Phantom of the Mall, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. So yeah, that's one of my favorite guilty pleasures. And a lot of these movies I don't remember like well enough to give reviews because my short-term memory sucks. I'm useless when it comes to short-term memory. Music, I just listen to it so damn much over the years, I can tell you all the songs and what I like. A lot of these movies I've only seen a few times sporadically, but this one I've seen a million times, so I know everything about it. But I'm not going to get into the and give away spoilers and the endings or anything, so I'm just going to talk about them real quick. The second one, I pulled this off the shelf. This is a bootleg, and it's not on any format. It's only on VHS, obviously. It's called Dead Girls, and it's about this rock and roll, all-female rock and roll band called the Dead Girls, who go to this, I don't know, cabin getaway in the woods to record albums for their new song, or they record songs for their new album, and yet they're hunted down by a mask-wearing killer. It's not very good. It's generic, but I kind of like this movie for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe the one kill on it is really brutal. You'll have to see it if you want to watch it. You can get this off twisteddanger.com. They have a lot of rare movies that either are very expensive or rare to find or never been released on DVD. Getting back to Chopping Mall, they also have it on Laserdisc called Killbots, and it's only in Japan, of course, and has a different and better artwork. Well, I don't know, that artwork's pretty cool, but the Killbot artwork is pretty awesome also. And yeah, it's like I said before, Japan gets all the best artwork, all the extra bonus tracks. It's fucking bullshit, but I want to go there so bad, so I probably would spend my money out the ass if I was over there. Now, getting in the top 10, no particular order. Number 10, I want to go with Welcome to Spring Break, and also called Nightmare Beach. Rest in peace, John Saxon. Basically, it's this sort of like spring break in like Florida, and this killer shows up wearing this on a motorcycle, wearing this gear, the same as like What Have You Done to Your Daughters and the Nail Gun Massacre and Night School. And he shocks people. He has like this belt on that's electrified, and he shocks people. And the music was done by Ron Donnelly, Bobby Rondinelli. He was in all these different 80s hair metal bands. It's fucking amazing to hear like the great song soundtrack in it. So I would highly recommend checking this out. It's cheesy as shit, but it was also done by Umberto Lenzi, I think. And but he didn't want to be really attached to this, so he had a different name, use a different name. So yeah, I would highly recommend checking that out because it's so cheesy. Like it's shocking people on an electrified motorcycle and carrying around these, just like this belt, and it shocks people. Next is going to be Body Count, number 9 on this list. In no particular order. I just want to count it down. This was done by Deodato, who also did the infamous Cannibal Holocaust. Although this is your standard slasher fare. There's no like band movie here. Well, basically, David Hess is also in this as the sheriff. From what I remember, I've only seen this a couple times. It takes place at a summer camp, but it's like on an Indian burial ground. This shaman, uh, I don't know, I forget how it really goes, but he shows up. It's supposed to be like it's on secret burial ground, but they keep going to this bathhouse and they get attacked by this Indian shaman guy. It's not really highly rated very well, but it has some good kills, and I would highly recommend it. It's not very, uh, it's not very creative. It's pretty generic, but I just thought I would show it off. This is a bootleg copy, obviously. You can watch it on Amazon Prime. That's where I watched it the second time. And you can get this on DVD, but it's very hard to get. And Amazon might have it, but I'm not sure. Number 8, one a lot of people don't know about. It's called Cut. Take my finger out. Cut. It's the Australian slasher film. Get this, starring Molly Ringwald and Kylie Minogue, the pop star from Australia, in 2000. And talk about a ripoff of Scream, because especially Scream 3. This came out the same year as Scream 3, but basically what the plot is the guy, well, there was a movie where it was a movie being made, a slasher film, and people were really dying according to the movie, so they stopped the production. Lo and behold, somebody sees this film like over a decade later, and they're like, I want to make this movie again, so they go back on to a different location and they start filming it again to finish it, and the killer shows up, starts killing people. So yeah, it's typical, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It's a lot better than the other slasher films from Australia, in my opinion. Of course, Houseboat Horror, shitty as hell. Blood Moon is not that great. This one's not bad, so I would highly recommend it. Deadly Possession, aka Coda, and Symphony of Evil. It's the last half hour is good, but it's kind of slow and boring. So this is my pick for my favorite Australian slasher film until I've seen a better one. So 7, the cheesiest album. I'm so used to movies or music. The cheesiest movie on this list, Killer Workout, directed by Ted Pryor, rest in peace, starring his brother David Pryor. Basically, this girl goes into work out, and like she was on a machine and it ends up like killing her, crushing her. I don't really remember. And they thought about closing it, but they reopen it later on, and it gets such bad publicity because she got killed that somehow a killer shows up and kills people with a large pin, like almost like a hat pin, almost like a large paperclip type thing. It's so cheesy, and all they showed a ton of gratuitous girls in leotards because it was the mid 80s, just working out to 80s techno pop music and up close crotch shots. It's just so bad, but I don't know, I've always enjoyed this film. It's cheesy as hell, but I don't know, I just really like it. Coming in next, number 6, another cheesy film that a lot of people don't know, called Fatal Games. It's never been released on anything but VHS and needs a release badly. Basically, it's a killer going around in a masked suit killing all of these Olympic athletes, and his or her weapon of choice is javelin. Like every damn kill is a javelin. The chase scene at the end is pretty good, and there's this one kill scene in the water that you have to see. It's really fucking awesome. It's not a very bloody film, but I don't know, I've seen a lot worse. It's not great, but if you like cheesy horror and a different type of weapon that kills people, like a javelin, then it's for you. Especially the one scene I'm talking about. If you ever watch this movie and the scene in the pool, you'll know what I mean. So highly recommend checking this out, just because, not out of quality, but if you want to check out something different that you probably have never seen before, I would recommend this. Coming in at 5, speaking of water and pool, The Pool. This is another early 2000s slasher movie, maybe my favorite from the early 2000s. It's one that's never, ever, ever talked about. Basically, these kids go to party at this indoor pool in Prague. It's a Czech slasher film. And the killer shows up and locks them inside and kills them off, basically one by one. There has some awesome scenes in it. This water slide scene, can't recommend enough. It's amazing. You have to see it to believe it. It's the best scene in the movie. And also it has Isla Fisher in it, and she's only in it for a few minutes. Of course, she's one of the first to die. It's one of her first movies. And I think it also has James McAvoy, if I remember. Yeah, James McAvoy is also in this, so it has a couple actors in it. So I would highly recommend it. There's another tense scene where they're crawling through the ducks to try to escape. It's a really good movie, I thought. I mean, actually, it's not a great movie. It's a cheesy slasher movie, but for what it's worth, you can do a lot worse. Highly recommend that one. And here's the one I was talking about earlier. Also filmed at the Sherman Oaks Galleria. Unique take on a slasher movie. And it says Pauly Shore at the top. Yeah, it's basically his first or second major slasher film ever. It also has Morgan Fairchild in it, as you can see. And it has the most interesting man in the world. Yeah, Jonathan Naismith, the guy that does the Dos Equis beer commercials. He's also in this movie. Basically, the townspeople wanted to build a mall on his property, but he wouldn't sell it to him, so they burned down his house. They thought he killed him, and they built the mall up. And here he's been living in underground tunnels in the mall. And it's a lot of people don't really like this movie, but I think it's really good. There's not really a lot of blood in it. It's just a different take on a slasher movie. You have to watch it. It's pretty decent. I always loved it. It's one of my favorite unknown slasher movies. This is also on Laserdisc, but I don't have it on Laserdisc, unfortunately. So highly recommend checking that out. Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. And it also has Tom Fridley from Friday the 13th Part 6 gets killed. And yeah, he gets killed in this one too. It's also John Travolta's nephew, which I haven't seen him in any movies forever, so I don't know if he's still acting or not. These last three I have on Laserdisc. Popcorn, I also have it on DVD. Basically, this is a movie set in the movie theater where this one guy, this cult leader, made this movie supposedly, and everybody died, and he was thought to killed himself or something. And she keeps seeing visions of this movie character in her dreams, but she's like a theater. I don't know, in college, like a theater arts director, and they're setting this whole theater show up with all these old movies with special effects, like The Mosquito from the 1950s. But the guy shows up and he locks them in the theater and starts killing off them one by one. And then this cover here, he's also using different masks in the film. So it's while it's not really bloody or suspenseful, it's really good. It's one of my few slasher films from the 90s, early 90s, because it was like a dead time, that I really like. So I highly recommend checking out Popcorn. They just released it, I think, a year or two ago on Blu-ray or DVD. So check it out. Next up, this came out, is Out of the Dark. I have a DVD of this also, and it's out on Amazon, but it kind of looks like a DVD-R rip. Basically, it's about these I don't know, these women that work at like sex call centers. You call in and talk dirty to them, like, you know, phone sex operators. And this one guy in a clown mask keeps calling and threatening to kill all these girls. And one of the women that works there, the main suspect, is her boyfriend. And I mean, it's there's nothing like groundbreaking about this movie, but I really liked it. There's not anything bad about it at all, and it's pretty suspenseful at certain parts. So, yeah, it has the clown killer right there with its clown mask. So this is from the late 80s. I would recommend checking it out. Yeah, it has one of those. I don't know if it was like drag queen. He's like he was famous in Divine, I think it's his name. Yeah, Divine. I think he was a drag queen or somebody famous in like the fashion industry. It was like one of his last movies before he died. He's in it, just been in a few scenes. And the last one, I also have the DVD of this, Final Exam. Standard, typical, a killer just shows up out of nowhere, targeting random people on a college campus. In fact, the trailer's like, he's come back, but he just shows up. There's no plot or story why he's there. And one of the parts of this movie that, if you've seen it, you know it would be controversial today. They carry out a campus shooting, but it's all fake. It was a prank by like a sorority. Now if they did that today, people would lose their shit because everybody's so goddamn sensitive. But yeah, they also have a character named Radish in here, who's a big, huge slasher and horror buff. Way before Randy of Scream came along, and he had like the Toolbox Murders poster in the background and everything, always talking about horror films. So yeah, that's might be where Randy got that inspiration, where they got that inspiration. So yeah, I've always enjoyed this movie. There's not a lot of blood or guts in it. A lot of people love it or hate it, but I would highly recommend checking out Final Exam if you can. So those are the 12 movies that I thought are underrated. I have a lot more that I can do for a different video. Let me know if you've seen any of these films, or if you like any of these films, if you hate any of these films, or what you want to see. I don't know. I might have it, might not. I mostly collect cheesy horror and slashers, so we'll see. So, as always, I'm going to sign off. It's past 1 o'clock. Probably listen to more music right now, so I'll put a link in the description for one of my other horror films I did, like videos, and subscribe as always. So take care. Rock on.